You are listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. They try to flip that intro around. They project into it and spell it. But number one, it's my intro. I own it. Number two, I created it about you all. And you know you can't hide from God, all of you. And I'm not fleeing anything, and I'm not running other than leaving a criminal community as it instructs in Luke 10 and moving on to the next community. That's one of their scams. They've told officers that I flee an investigation. And it's all criminal stalking, and it's all criminal harassment. Oh, he said criminal, because he's the criminal. That's what they're projecting. They're all insane. If you look at my tweets and you're psychic, you can watch them try to flip what it says. It's written in plain English, and then they manipulate it around. Again, they will call that power, but of course, that is their anti-power. Yes, they've told officers and people in the community that I flee the investigation like it's real. So I want to bring up something real quick. When we speak about the youth that in some way, shape, or form believe that they are transgender, we have technology, victim witness technology. We have bully technology, transgender technology, as far as psychology, as far as other things around transgender and around victims and witnesses, and around the bully situations where we see suicide, self-harm, runaways, all sorts of things go on. When a child believes they're transgender, generally they were led into that medically. Sometimes it's not medical. But nobody should be messing with that other than a medical professional, a psychological professional that can pull them out of it. Again, it's probably not going to be the same doctor. Granted. So again, the only thing you can do is encourage them to feel what they feel and to be comfortable in it. If they're to be moved away from it, that's a long and drawn out process. We don't make victims of anything feel guilty for being a victim. I mean, of course they do, but everything I spoke about is pretty much that. Or I speak about, should I say. So I wanted to start with that and get that out because they're dwelling on it. They're just ignorant as all can be and get out. It's just insane. They're absolutely insane. And they walk around as if they are wielding the holy grail of investigation. It's all fraud. The majority of cases they brought before you were fraud cases, that they committed fraud pushing someone into the crime if they actually did commit the crime, and then getting you to do certain things to cause a further crime. And then say, see. Oh, we see, all right. Okay, we have a missing in Kansas here that came up. Apparently, for some reason, it wasn't presented in January. And generally, on runaways, sometimes that happens, that they don't get presented because they don't hit the Amber Alert system. And the parents may have been trying to keep it quiet. We don't know for sure. But apparently, this was in January. And because with this, a lot of questions came up metaphysically, and a lot of answers, I guess. So that's why I dedicated the show to Missing in Kansas, Kyle Hatchel, because through his dilemma, we have some time here and some questions that I need to answer. Metaphysically, anybody that's missing is cursed, period. Now, this is the kicker. Anybody that might have abducted Kyle or anyone else is cursed metaphysically also. So again, we get into this idea of how do you fix that? You have to heal it. Can you heal it? I don't know. The world's that messed up. They kill the healers because they want to curse black people. They kill the healers because they want to curse gay people. They kill the healers because they want to curse people to be gay. Now, if you're gay, I'm not telling you you're less than anyone else because you're gay. I'm not telling you that at all. But there's a reality as to how all this is happening. Anymore, is gay being the big curse? Not necessarily. I mean, in some communities, they're doing very well. They're very wealthy. They're happy and all of that. But if you're gay and they want to take you out, it's probably still easier to take you out, to find people to go after you and harm you. It's already been tested, believe me. And no, I don't do things to test you. You're here. I have to figure out what you're doing. So what happens is if Kyle gets cursed because he wore a pink shirt to school, I brought this up before. Kyle wears a pink shirt to school and they curse him and they hate him because they say he's gay because he wears a pink shirt or whatever it was. Or I don't know, Kyle might speak funny, have a funny voice, so those kids will say that he's gay. That's what they do. Or he may be may have hugged somewhere in the last couple years another boy, just mano a mano, being cool, and somebody saw it and said they were gay. So there's all sorts of reasons that they do that. Now, if you will, and I'm going to back it up a little bit. If you're from a wealthy family like Trump, or not even that wealthy of a family, a wealthier family, it's relative to the other people, and you will something into the life of the other person who might be not as well off as you, that could happen, whatever it is, because that's how the earth is wired. The worship of mammon, worship of corrupt money. So if they curse him gay, essentially that's what they're doing. He could get abducted by a gay pedophile, and then he could be history. So again, I related before how their curses don't have to be direct to cause the issue. Their will, it doesn't have to be a curse to will it. And a lot of people will things. They're so obsessed with something being true. Christians are horrible at that. Gay people are pedophiles. Bam, they put it out there, and what happens? Satan says, oh yeah, they are, and then Satan does it. So again, simply willing him to be gay, saying that he's gay, that might do it, but not necessarily. Because you can start a reverberation where people say it and somebody wills it and somebody else curses it, that kind of thing. So you don't have to will or curse somebody to be abducted or be murdered for that to happen. Actually, if you bless your daughter and will your daughter or your son to go to a certain school, and Kyle Hatchel would be in the way, you can get Kyle Hatchel harmed. Or something that would change his life so he wouldn't get to Harvard because he would beat your daughter or your son in scores. So this is the reality of the missing, but yet it's the reality of those that cause the missing. And at this point, as I've explained, we have law enforcement, intelligence, we have private investigators that are actually causing all of that. Devils, demons, antichrist, witches, and sorcerers. I recorded something today. I had to edit it, and this came up. And then after this came up, my Amazon came up. So they're trying to block that particular broadcast. I'll edit it and probably put it in 10-minute blocks and upload it later or tomorrow. So the metaphysic of missing is that you've been cursed. But it doesn't take, a direct curse for it to happen. Here's an example. Kyle Hatchel has nothing to do with it. He's never been cursed. Nobody's ever hated him. But people in the federal government are on a task force. Come into a city, local police, state police are on the task force. They hand him 3 or 4 names. Cop scratches his head and said, you just don't know psychology, officer. Well, over there, no, officer, we've already checked that person out. They're okay. Drop that investigation. We're going to investigate over here. They will and curse an individual, and you can hear it in their language. Just listen to them. Now, it's not 100%. Obviously, Satan can make anybody look like a devil. However, they curse somebody who eventually causes Kyle Hatchel to be missing. Either an abduction or murder, so on and so forth. And then we go back to, what was her name? Susanna Morales, I think. I guarantee she was cursed. Jealousy. She looked like she was rather loved by her family. I can read it all day long. I can walk out there and watch it try to do it to me. Try to heal it, but there's more people putting it out there, and they have nothing to do with more except I'm explaining it to you. Because they bring less to a community. Now, it doesn't have to be right now. They could be cursing 3 or 4 people in the state. Every time a state and a local cop drives around the community, they see the person and they curse him or curse her. And about 10 months later, like we have in Omar Mateen and the Pulse nightclub shooting, it takes effect. And somebody abducts Kyle or murders Kyle. This is how it's happening. And the larger your response is, what happens? The bigger the crimes become. The more crimes that exist. And the less semblance of order. That's how I know. They're not out there healing your community. Not by a long shot. They're even moving psychological operations, physical adulteration of mind and body. Whoa, get rid of that devil he just projected at me. So when we look at this, we should realize no matter what's happening, Kyle's been cursed, he's been hated, and he's been disappeared. Disappeared? You said the same thing about Bob. Correct. Bob Levinson was disappeared. A lot of reasons for that. He has the technology to detect Soviet activity. And you got to think about the time frame. They were rising to fame at that point. And miraculously, all these agents and officers in CIA, they were making it great in the stock market. They were wealthier than we've ever been. Easiest way to pay a spy is with dividends in the stock market. So what they do to my brother is they drop his stock. They've done it to him forever. Or as long as they wanted to manipulate him. Again, Gabby Petito came up when thinking about Kyle. But I can't read it. I can't see it. Somebody's cursed it. But that photo is related somehow. They're so ed up in the head, they'd rather have somebody abduct, murder, or rape, or rape Kyle than to not be the criminal they are. That's all that's happening. The metaphysic is increasing in the wrong direction. So what can we do? Let's see what this says here. 2 Corinthians 11, 14 through 15, King James Version. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers, his police officers, his intelligence officers, his security person at Walmart, etc., so on and so forth, also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness and the ministers of missing and exploited children and the ministers of the FBI, whose end shall be according to their works. So on and so forth. That may take until they get to hell, because the planet is so far into evil that they're not being punished enough so that you can see it. I don't remember what this says. What is this? This is what they're doing, but it's not only the newspapers. Again, here we can speak about intelligence, law enforcement. So this is their end. We'll fast forward it. That's their end. I don't know if this is like a video game or something. That's some sort of emblem on there. Look, it says L9 or something like that, or LG. So here we go to this. Ephesians 6:12, King James Version. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. This is what we're dealing with. However, I have a modification a little bit here. It says wickedness in high places, in higher places. So it's all relative to where you are. That's how we know who's doing it. But it does include people, Well, they're high. They're in a higher place. If you're in a community and you're working for the mutts that are out there with the fake task forces, or even if they're real task forces and they're causing the crime in your community, you're going to be anti-powered a little higher to cause the disruptions. So we know when we look at, what is this one? Not sure why that came up, but Isaiah 55, 8, 9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Apparently, somebody had a question about how murderers could get to heaven before they do because of the metaphysic. If somebody's possessed into committing a murder, and I caution to use this because you'll twist it, but to no fault of their own, then God's not going to put them in hell for it. But yet the person that caused them to fall, which may be a police officer while they were riding their big wheel, said, kid's going to be a criminal when they go up. Whammy, whammy, whammy. When that kid grows up, that kid's going to be a criminal. Whammy, whammy, whammy. Will. Beat up the kid's father. Laugh about it, and the kid sees it. Because you know the effect. How do we know? Because they tell us. You can't hide from the beings of light. You really can't. And for some reason, they're focusing on the planet again, I think. I can't tell if I have connected better to them at this point, or did they have other business? And now they've returned to Earth. So they're trying to get somebody from Florida elected again. Stay away from them mutts. They're criminals. What they do is they sell out their community. It's the same as these law enforcement intelligence types. They sell out their community in their home state. And they have like a little condo in Florida and they want the big home. Or a bigger condo. So they work for Florida and that evil that Florida is. Now, I don't know how I can find it somewhere. I can't see what it does. It won't show me on my screen. It's a video clip setting, but it's Jesus with a light heart. And that's what I meant to upload, but I can't find it now. Actually, I probably Google it. So I don't want to belabor this too long, but it's all metaphysics. Kyle is missing because of evil metaphysics. The problem is, and I'm not exonerating anybody that has done anything to Kyle, but yet God could. And the Bible could. That even the person that abducted Kyle or that murdered Kyle, or even if it's just Kyle running away with a family and they're hiding Kyle from his family or whatever it is, even if it's something very innocuous but yet still criminal, it's all being caused by the metaphysic. He may have a teacher that said, I never want to see this kid again. I'm just sick of this kid. People that are evil get it in their head that they, I can't stand that person. They'll even tell you something. I don't know what it is, but I don't like that person. Oh, yeah, that's intelligent. That's a lot of the government people are like that I speak about, the evil ones. So again, it could be simple like that. It could be Kyle's neighbor. I hate that kid. Cuts across my lawn every time. I want him to stop. And to get him to stop, he had to disappear. See, evil is not controlled. Again, I bring up Fantasia and Mickey Mouse. I imagine, and maybe not, I mean, could it just be God? I imagine Walt Disney knew something about metaphysics. Or at least whoever created the Fantasia movie. because you don't control the evil magic, all of you. It controls you in an out of control way. So again, the way to fix any of this is to heal it, but we're not in a good way right now. And you drop my ability to heal things way down. And on top of that, God's saying, no, we're not going to make them famous while they destroy you. So again, it's simply something like, yeah, healed can do it. God, please heal this. I mean, that's all it takes. You can even say healed. That's all it takes. Your Father in heaven knows what you want. But I would say an outward movement would empower it. An outward appearance of the word healed. But it's all metaphysical. That's why that's happened. But yet, if there is a person that harmed Kyle, it could be psychological and physical. A task force could have attacked that person for the last 5 years, and the person went loony. So again, they know what they're doing. They call that being good for business. Good for their bank account. So again, always remember, normal isn't coming back. And Jesus is here, actually. So again, that's it for now. Heal Kyle, heal the situation. I used to, all the time I went to Walmart, heal the missing children on the board. God finally said, Walmart's so evil, we're not going to do it. Walmart's part of what you all call the deep state. I call the beast. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Because God is all that you have. Praise God.
You are listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free